All right, good morning. It's Labor Day weekend. It's not Labor Day yet. It's Labor Day weekend. I'm headed down to the farm. Doing this with my cell phone. We're gonna try doing it without any editing. If I get a phone call, I don't know. I don't know what to do after that. I don't know. I'm pretty new with this YouTube deal. Anyways, headed down. I'm gonna go check the field I need to go run the grader on. I need to pull dirt away from borders, then push dirt up to the borders. I'm gonna run over to that field and we're gonna dig a little hole and see how wet the dirt is. 2 days ago we had 1.25 inches of rain, so I need to let that ground, make sure it's dried out 100%, because it will, if I run that grader, it'll pack the dirt down too tight. If you pack the dirt down, then you get compaction. Looking at my camera, it looks dirty. Hold on a second. I'm gonna clean it. Hold on. There we go. I hope that's better. Sorry. Should have been a little more prepared. Anyways, I'm gonna run over there. I'm just driving down the road and looking at the side of the road. There's still standing water in some spots. It makes me a little, I think it's gonna be a little bit wet still. I really don't want any moisture, especially in the top couple inches. And this might be a next week project. So anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna go look at that. We do have the laser running. I'll make a video there. Where he is, it didn't actually rain. This month, the monsoons can be kind of funny. It rained, like I said, it rained 1.25 inches, and then 8 miles away, they didn't get a drop of water. It rained on all of the hay we had down too. But I've got some fields and places it didn't rain. It would have been nice if that hay was down, but oh well, we'll be okay. It happens every year, and it really wasn't too many acres, so it's not gonna, in the long run, it's not gonna really affect anything. But this is kind of how every day goes. There's something kind of different every day. Generally, I like to go down straight to the sale barn and see those guys and make sure everything's set up. Yesterday evening, they were taking care of that. They were moving over. They needed some Bermuda. They needed some rye alfalfa mix. They were taking care of that last night, so they should be prepared for today. And I'm pretty certain this soil is going to be too wet. Yeah, I'm almost there. I can see the bottom of the field still has mud in it. This field, I'm not even going to jump out and dig a hole. Well, I will, I guess, for your guys' sake. We'll do it for you guys, because you're the viewer. Anyway, so yeah, so those guys got prepared last night. I mean, this making videos, not editing and putting it on here is dangerous, because I have what people call ADD. My attention oh my gosh, just one day we'll have my wife on here and she'll explain. It's all over the place. It is all over the place, so this should be interesting. Yeah, there's some weeds out in this field too. Maybe I'll walk along and chop them, or I will go get an employee and drop them off and tell them to kill them all with a shovel. All right, pulling into the top of the field. Yeah, there's even mud at the top of this field too. Ooh, that's mud. So there's mud there. There's gonna be mud, or there's gonna be moisture in the soil as well. All right, let me pick a border, any border. Turn the truck off. All right, so there's the border. There's the other border. Kind of camouflaged in when I look at it this way. I can see some right there. It's still pretty dark from mud. So I guess I'll explain everything. There is the grader over there. This field has a lot of side fall. You can't see it, but it's higher at that side and lower over there. Last year when we put this field in, I didn't run this grader. And as water comes out of this ditch, out of the portholes, there's a porthole that's covered up in dirt, but we'll dig it out. Oh, there's one right there, you can see, right there. As water comes out of these portholes, you want side to side between the borders to be flat. Now there could be, hypothetically, there could be a 6-inch difference between this border and that border, but as long as they're flat, they side to side within the border, it will irrigate. Well, last year, 4 years ago, when we put this, took the field out and put it back in, I didn't run the grader, and because this field slopes this way, the water really ran to the lower border, the lower side of the border, and I had a hard time getting water up here. So I had a lot of weeds growing right along the border and not in the alfalfa. So I'm gonna come through with the grader. I'm gonna make 2 passes. I'm gonna try to take about 1 inch out and push it that way, and then do one more time. And then I'm gonna go along that border, or this side of this border, and I'm gonna push dirt, 2 passes, I'm gonna push dirt towards it to get dirt over here, so to keep water from running down this border and washing it out. And then what the laser will do is, after I push the dirt this side, that bucket, he'll actually scoop it up, and then he will disperse it as he goes through the border. When we go over to the border to watch him run, you'll see what I'm talking about. He makes big circles. He comes along this border and fills in the trough from the border disc, which I'll fill it in with the grader as well, so it won't be much of a trough. But anyways, he comes around and he gets right along the side of it, and then he goes and he just makes big circles, and he goes along that border, and he comes back, and he does 1 pass at the top and 1 pass at the bottom, and he comes in 1 bucket width less, and he does it again, and he just keeps going. So every part of this dirt except the very top gets covered twice. So he makes a pass down there, and he comes and makes a pass up here, and over time he'll get further down there, and so he's making passes, his top pass is over his bottom pass, so that bucket is constantly adjusting up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So that first pass, it makes its up and down adjustments. Then when it comes by with the second pass, it's still making those up and down adjustments, but fine-tuning everything. By me pushing this dirt away and putting it out here in the middle, he'll be picking it up and then dropping it on that side where it's lower. And the idea is all this higher dirt will be placed down there where it's lower, and we won't have water running to that's the east side or the low side of all of these borders. But like I said, this ground, there's some mud right there. This ground's still has too much moisture in it, so, but I'll still dig a hole and show you guys. Sweet big fridge, ice chest. Yeah, see that top soil it doesn't look like much, but that'll pack. There's just still too much moisture in there for what I want to do. So a little more, like a light sprinkle is kind of nice, because, man, it keeps the dust down, especially when you're lasering. There's 2 forms two systems you can use to level this ground. One's GPS, one's a laser. Laser, if it's super dry and there is no wind at all, the dust will, so you have to have a clear line of sight for that laser to work. There's a transmitter in the field, which you'll see, and then there's a receiver on the tractor. So transmitter and receiver. That transmitter is throwing out a constant laser beam, and that receiver is picking it up. Well, when the dust is really thick and there is no breeze whatsoever, that dust just settles right where you're working, and you're constantly stopping and going, waiting for the dust to go away, then go again. And with the dust, with the breeze, sometimes you'll have to move to a different part of the field or a different side of the tower to catch, so the wind's blowing away from the tower, not at it. The other form that's used, a lot of people use it. Terry uses it, the Beeves. It's a GPS system. What's nice about that is it reaches longer distances, so you can go over a mile, my neighbor told me yesterday, and then dust doesn't matter. You can keep going because it's not using, it's using GPS, it's not using a laser sight. But also, back to the wet, the moisture in the soil. When the border disc came through here, there is a bit of a trough right there, and that's where the water runs to. That's another reason it's along the borders here where I'm going to be pulling dirt away. It's just going to have too much. Yeah, see, that's still like mud right there. So this will probably be a Monday or Tuesday project. We'll wait a few more days. I need to get like a phone selfie stick. Right now I'm just holding this with my hand. I could mount this to my shovel. That'd be stupid. Anyways, they make those gimbals for phones. I guess I have one. I don't know how to use it though. Buddy gave it to me. Slavin, the guy that makes all the YouTubes and drone stuff. So now we're gonna head over to the laser, and I will show you. He should be operating at the moment. Now let's see. So I've never had my video on when I turn my pickup on. Will music come on? Is this gonna work? Nice, it's still working. Yeah, so let's head over to this this laser setup and make sure he's going all right. I had to borrow, man, we couldn't get this, I couldn't get the receiver to work yesterday. Well, we couldn't get the system to work, I should say it that. We troubleshot it. Well, we tried to find out why it wasn't working. And it's always electrical. That's the other thing with these, with the laser system versus the GPS. My neighbor was telling me yesterday the GPS doesn't have as many problems. When it does have a problem, it's always a lot easier to fix. There's the grader. Anyways, and there's a plug at the receiver. There's a plug, so it plugs into the receiver, but then there's a plug at the bottom of the base of the tower on the bucket. So there's two plugs, and then there's a plug on the back end of the tractor. There's three plugs, and there's a plug at the computer box in the tractor. One at the top, one at the bottom, one at the back of the tractor, one in the tractor. So there's four plugs. There's four places one of these little tiny pins could get bent, or inside the plug on the back side of the pin it can get unplugged, or I don't know. There's just too many places things could go wrong. I think in the past I've eliminated two of those plug points and just made a really long cable. Those cables are expensive. They're, I don't know, $50 a foot or something. So I don't like buying new cables, and there's like 20 foot of cable or more. I don't remember. I had to do it all last year, and I already forgot. But anyways, yesterday we couldn't get the system to work, so I called up Todd Rovey, my neighbor, another farmer, and he said, "Well, come over. I've got a receiver in a box that I'm not using." Oh, there's a bunch of those squirrels. That's one of my favorite places to shoot squirrels, but it's right off the highway. So I got to do it when there's haystack there, so people don't see me shooting. But I love shooting squirrels. So I went over there, picked up the box, picked up the receiver, and we put the receiver on first, because when we were trying to figure out what was wrong, it was getting power to the receiver, but it wasn't reading the laser signal, the laser beam. So we kind of figured it was something in the receiver. So I borrowed the receiver from my neighbor. Sorry, my nose itches. Borrowed the receiver from my neighbor and put it on. It's working. So now the only place that can work on these receivers is in Yuma, Arizona, and I'm in Buckeye, so it's a couple hours away. I can mail it to them. Might go see or drive it down there myself. Go see my buddy John Dinsmore. Go see John. I don't know. It's kind of busy. It's hard to just leave. And this is a holiday weekend. So yesterday was Friday afternoon when we were trying to make that thing work. It wouldn't work. Now it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Everybody's closed. So hopefully I get that thing to those guys on Tuesday. But I'll call them. They have to come here all the time to work on other people's stuff. So maybe they'll be here. One way or the other, I got to get my receiver down to Yuma and get that thing fixed. So, because we're at Brian Turner's house right now, he's got two little fields around his house. We're doing those. Those are the first the first fields we're lasering this year. We've got, oh man, 120 plus 40 plus 40 plus 40 plus 35. I don't know. I already lost count. But anyways, we've got 250 acres to laser, so I need to get this thing going. And we need to get it fixed, so I'm kind of stinks that this deal's not fixed. But yeah, that's how it goes every year, though. Man, you park, it works. When it works great. When you park it, 6 months later, you go start it up, and nothing works. I usually leave all those cables and stuff just the way they are. I don't unplug them. I just leave everything set. I put a plastic bucket over the receiver because the receiver's up on the top of a mast. So if it rains, but man, maybe I need to unplug everything and like put plastic caps or tape up the plugs. I don't know, but it's frustrating that every single year you go to use it and there's always a reason something doesn't work and you didn't touch anything. It just sat there for 6 months. Ah, it's so frustrating. Beeves told me to go to GPS, but for me to go from my system now to GPS is like 20 grand, just under. Todd yesterday was saying, be prepared to spend $18,000. And I'm not prepared to do that. And I'm not prepared to ask my dad to do that, because when this system works, it works just fine. These fields have been lasered hundreds and hundreds of times. So we're not moving a lot of dirt. And so it works. It works very well. The irrigators have got it pretty easy. They hardly ever have to put checks in or move tins around. They take like corrugated tin. They take the length of it. I forget how long they are, 8 foot. And they take just one sheet of it and they bend it in half like a taco, not long ways like a hamburger, I guess, or not short ways. They bend it long ways. And they put little handles on it and they put them down with the top of the V pointed up, and that directs water. You can use that to direct water without. They used to just go out there with shovels and dig those little deals, little dikes or dams or whatever you want to call them. Or check, we call them checks. They used to dig the checks in the dirt. Well, then those checks are always there forever. Yeah, it's great. Then the irrigator doesn't have to go out there with a tin every time he irrigates. But when you go over it with a swather going 20 miles an hour, or a spray coupe, or a roadsider, it gets pretty rough. So we have them use the metal tins instead. But if you laser correctly and everything's working right, you don't need any tins. It's a pretty easy job, and either myself or Manuel runs the laser. He's great at it. I just find out I've lasered thousands and thousands of acres. I used to be the only one to run that thing for like 5 or 6 years, but when we hired Manuel, he knows how to run it, so it's been kind of nice. I don't have to do it. It's very time consuming, and it takes quite a while. Todd told me he did with the GPS one. He did 5 borders in 5 hours, the same amount of time as the laser one. They've got both. They've got laser and they've got GPS. The laser only did 3 borders because of the dust, but I think you can do 35 acres a day with that, with our setup, when you're moving pretty fast, no problems. Yeah, so it's a time consuming process. So it's nice that he can do it. I can be doing other things, messing with hay and squeezes, but I don't even know what we were just talking about. Anyways, we're about to pull up, so it doesn't matter. And hopefully he's running. This guy's great at getting up early and running. He likes to get stuff done. They didn't have any bailing last night. Oh, he's parked. Oh, his truck's here. So something's happening. It's never fun seeing the equipment parked. Oh wow, so he's done 1, 2, 3, 4 borders. He's on the last border, so he is almost done. So I'm gonna climb up there and sit with him for a second. Nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. His door is open. Maybe he's smoking. He smokes sometimes. When they put in a lot of hours, he'll smoke. I think he's smoking. He's sitting up there. Thumbs up. Yeah, he's just taking a break. Oh, now I feel bad. He's just shut the door. Well, you'll get to watch him do a lap or two. So that's the bottom. He just finished the bottom end of his turn. Now he goes across the top. So he's already been there with the bottom side of his turn. There's my finger. So now so this is his second time over that spot. And our little John Deere sign fell off the front of that emblem, fell off the front of the tractor. Oh well, someone probably stole it. So now he's back at the bottom. The bottoms are always tricky. As the water flows in flood irrigation, it moves dirt with it, and they can be kind of they can run out of dirt. Like right now he's picking up, you can see that bucket going up, so he's letting dirt out right now. That means it really falls off down here. That happens a lot though. That happens a lot. So he's probably playing with it right now. You can manually play with that bucket, up or down, up or down. It's easy to do, and sometimes you have to do it quite a bit. So it's less than half full, that bucket. So like I said, these fields have been lasered hundreds of times. The less amount of dirt you hold in that bucket, see, I can see his tire tracks right there from the tractor. That means he just dumped all of his dirt out. When he's carrying dirt, you can't see your tracks because your tire tracks, because you're scraping the ground. When you see tire tracks, that means all the dirt just fell out of the bucket. So there's a real low spot right there. So he's picking up dirt up here and carrying it down here, which that'll help with keeping the water from flowing out so fast, and that'll help with erosion. It makes whenever the water runs out real fast in low spots, it makes terrible rough spots in the field. So all the equipment has to drive through. Anyway, oh man, I already forgot what I was talking about. Oh, you can manually pick, lower, and raise that bucket, and without having to change the slope of the field. So if you're like right now, he's at the very end of the field. Instead of getting out there and changing the slope, he'll just finish it. He'll just finish it manually. It's not, because he is at the bottom of the field, it's not too terribly important that he keeps that exact geometry or slope on the field. So he'll just kind of play with it and drop the bucket a little bit, drop the bucket a little bit, drop the bucket a little bit, to where he's always has a little bit of dirt in the bucket, because you never want to be empty and you never want to be really full. You want that bucket just with a little bit. See that dust going up there? So that dust will block the view to that tower. There's a tower right there. So that dust will block that view. But since these fields have all been lasered a lot of times, we'll try to run these run that bucket half full or even less than half full. Sometimes you're not burning as much fuel, you're not pulling a big load. It's quite a bit easier. But here at the bottom, it's a little different. He'll pick up and drop, pick up and drop, pick up and drop. So anyways, man, this is a long video. Sorry. Hope you guys enjoy it. There's the system.